Stop right there. Don't touch that mouse. In the next 2.5 minutes, I'm going to ruin every single warm, fuzzy feeling you have about that shiny 2024 pickup parked outside your house right now. The one you're still making payments on. The one you told your wife. This is our bug-out truck, honey. We're ready for anything. Yeah, that one just became an $80,000 boat anchor, and you're about to find out exactly why. Picture this. It's Tuesday morning in suburban Dallas, or Columbus, or Charlotte. Doesn't matter. You wake up, coffee's brewing, kids got soccer practice at 6. Your mom's supposed to pick up her blood pressure meds at the CVS on the corner, and your back's already barking from yesterday's yard work. You hit the garage door button. Nothing. Lights are out. Phone's dead. No hum from the fridge. You grab the key fob for the truck, thumb the unlock. Silence. You open the door manually, slide in, turn the key. Not even a click. Not a dash light. Nothing. 47 different computers that cost more than your first house just got permanently bricked in the same heartbeat. Your heated seats, your 360 cameras, your lane keep nanny, your turbocharged ego, all of it dead. The transmission won't even come out of park because an electronic solenoid is waiting for a signal that will never come again. You can't push it out of the driveway, can't tow it, can't hotwire it. You just spent 6 figures on the world's most expensive yard sculpture, and your family's now on foot with whatever you can strap to your bad knees. That's not a nightmare. That's the morning after any decent high-altitude EMP, solar superflare, BB, or even a grid collapse cyber attack nobody saw coming. One invisible wave rolls across the sky, and every modern vehicle built after about 1995 turns into a metal coffin on wheels. Your neighbor's Tesla? Dead. The brand new Suburban your brother-in-law brags about? Dead. The ambulance that's supposed to come get your dad when his heart gives out? Dead. And you, my friend, are standing in your garage staring at a truck that might as well have a "free supplies inside, help yourself" sign taped to the windshield. Real-world proof? July 9th, 1962, Operation Starfish Prime. United States detonates a 1.4 megaton warhead 250 miles above Johnston Island in the Pacific. The electromagnetic pulse was so strong it blew out streetlights 800 miles away in Hawaii, fried burglar alarms, and killed cars on the road. Drivers in Honolulu suddenly coasting to a stop because their ignition coils got cooked. Same month, same year, the Soviets lit off Test 184 over Kazakhstan, 300 miles up. Result? Cars 2,000 kilometers away, stalled dead. Spark plug wires fused, distributors melted, and those were 1960s cars with maybe 2 wires and a coil. Your 2024 rig has 4 miles of wiring and chips smaller than a flea's eyelash. You do the math. That's the hook, brother. That's the moment you realize the thing you trusted your family's life to is the very thing that strands them when the sky decides to hit the reset button. And the worst part? We're not even to the part where I tell you what actually works. But before we get there, you need to feel this in your gut. Because if you don't feel it now, you'll feel it when your daughter's asking why the truck won't start, and you've got 18 miles of bad road between you and her asthma inhaler. So here are the only 4 laws left on planet Earth that decide whether the vehicle in your driveway keeps you alive or gets you killed. Burn these into your brain, because when the lights go out, there's no do-over. Law 1, the electromagnetic killshot test. Can your ride survive when the atmosphere itself becomes a giant taser? 1 Carrington-level solar flare. One rogue nation suitcase nuke at altitude, and every unshielded semiconductor on the continent turns to glass. Modern fuel-injected, fly-by-wire, CAN-bus-controlled vehicles fail instantly and permanently. End of story. Law 2. The common tool repair standard. You're 200 miles from home, alternator bearing seizes. You've got a crescent wrench, a Leatherman, and whatever's in the glove box. Can you fix it roadside, or are you waiting for a flatbed that's never coming? If the job requires a dealer scan tool, proprietary torque specs, or a part that only ships from Germany, you're done. Law 3. The fuel flexibility protocol. Gasoline goes bad in 6 months, pumps need electricity, refineries need a functioning continent. When year 2 rolls around, can your engine still drink kerosene, old diesel, filtered fryer oil, or are you pushing a very expensive shopping cart? Law 4. The invisibility doctrine. Desperate people notice shiny things. Lifted trucks with light bars and rooftop tents scream, "I have food, ammo." And a plan. The vehicle that survives is the one nobody bothers to rob because it looks like it belongs to a broke plumber who's already given up on life. 4 laws. Pass all 4 and you stay mobile. Fail even 1 and your bad back, your kid's soccer gear, and your mom's heart pills are walking. And walking in week 3 of a collapse is a death sentence with extra steps. That's the filter. That's the line in the sand. Everything after this is just deciding which flavor of compromise you're willing to live with, because perfection doesn't exist, only the weakness that kills you last. Look, the first vehicle that actually passes every single one of those 4 laws is the one most of you drove right past at the stoplight this morning and never gave a second thought. The boxy, ugly 1984 to 1996 Jeep Cherokee XJ. Yeah, the one that looks like your high school shop teacher's daily driver. The one sitting in every junkyard from Spokane to Sarasota, rusting quietly with a "for parts" sign on the windshield. That's your Phoenix, brother. That's the rig that's going to start when the sky fries everything else and keep starting while your neighbor's $90,000 Denali is getting stripped for sheet metal. Start with the heart of it. The 4.0-liter inline-6. This engine is so overbuilt, it's practically an insult to physics. Cast iron block, cast iron head, push rods thick as your thumb. 7 main bearings, hydraulic lifters that forgive you for forgetting oil changes. Guys in Wyoming have run these things 400,000 miles pulling horse trailers in January, then rolled them, and the engine still idled smooth while the paramedics cut the roof off. I personally watched a 93 XJ in Missoula keep running after a moose took out the radiator, oil pan, and half the front axle. Driver limped it 23 miles home in 4 low because the 4.0 simply refused to die. It's not fast, it's not pretty, it's not quiet, but it is too damn dumb to quit. And dumb is exactly what keeps you alive when your kid's inhaler is 40 miles away and your back is screaming every time you shift into third. EMP reality. Pre-97 models use a Renix or early OBDI ECU the size of a paperback book. You unscrew 4 bolts, wrap the thing in heavy foil, toss it in a steel ammo can lined with cardboard, bury the can under the seat, and you're done. Pulse hits, 99% chance the ECU survives. Worst case, it fries. You walk to the nearest pick and pull outside Tulsa, Oklahoma City, wherever. Yank one off any 89 to 96 XJ or Comanche in the yard, plug it in, and you're rolling in 20 minutes. There are literally millions of these ECUs rusting in rows right now. Your brand new Ford? The replacement module is in a warehouse in Shanghai that just lost power forever. Parts interchangeability is where this thing becomes a cheat code. Water pump from a 92 fits a 95. Alternator from a 90 works on a 96. Transmission, transfer case, axles, doors, glass, seats, everything swaps across 13 model years with nothing more than basic hand tools. Drive through any town bigger than 30,000 people, and there's a yard with at least 5 XJs stacked like cordwood. You blow a head gasket outside Amarillo. You're fixed by sundown with parts you paid $20 for and labor that only cost you a bad knee and a couple Advil. Try that with the computer-controlled 3.5 EcoBoost in your wife's Explorer. Off-road, this little box will embarrass modern crossovers all day long. Solid front and rear axles, 8.5 inches of ground clearance stock, a 2-speed transfer case that actually locks, and it only weighs 3,100 pounds. It'll crawl up trails outside Denver that make $120,000 Defenders pucker. Light enough that 4 guys with bad backs can winch it out of mud if they have to. Narrow enough to thread between downed trees on Forest Service roads when the highways are parking lots full of dead Teslas. Now the ugly truth you have to swallow. 15 miles per gallon on a good day with the tailwind. 12 if you're actually using 4-wheel drive or hauling your family in gear. That's a hard limit. Every gallon you burn is a gallon you can't give your generator to keep your mom's insulin cold. And space? Forget it. You, your wife, 2 kids with hockey bags or dance gear and grandma's oxygen concentrator. Somebody's riding on the roof rack or staying home. This is not a mobile home. This is a scout, a fighter, a get-the-hell-out vehicle that keeps moving when everything else is a statue. That's the price of simplicity. You trade comfort, fuel economy, and cargo room for the ability to fix it with a hammer and baling wire, while the world burns. Most men won't pay that price until they're watching their family walk because the shiny truck betrayed them. The XJ isn't sexy, it's not comfortable. But it will be running when your grandchildren are telling stories about the week the lights went out forever. Here's the one that hurts men's egos the hardest. The absolute best long-term survival vehicle on 4 wheels is a plain white, windowless, dog-piss-scented 1995-2002 Ford E350 or Chevy Express cargo van that looks like it belongs to a carpet cleaner who stopped giving a damn around the Clinton administration. Yeah, the rolling cardboard box you wouldn't let your daughter date if it had legs. That's your ghost. That's the rig nobody pulls over, nobody robs, and nobody remembers 10 seconds after it rolls by. Picture the checkpoint outside Knoxville or Tulsa or Allentown 3 weeks into the blackout. 2-lane road, burned out Suburbans pushed to the shoulder. Guys with rifles and bad attitudes stopping anything that looks like it has more than 2 days of food. A lifted Tacoma with a roof tent and Punisher decals creeps up. They swarm it like flies on roadkill. Then your van limps into view. Faded, Mike's Plumbing. No job too small, magnetic sign half peeling off, rust spots, one taillight cracked. The guy with the AR glances up, sees a broke-ass tradesman just trying to get home to his beer and his bad decisions, waves you through without even making you stop. You just ghosted past a death trap with 30 days of food, 4 rifles, 2 weeks of your dad's heart meds, and a mattress nobody knows exists. That's winning by being utterly forgettable. Inside that steel box is a different story. No side windows means nobody sees you sleep, cook, or load magazines. You weld in a bulkhead with a locking door behind the seats, build a raised platform bed over 400 gallons of concealed storage, run 200 watts of solar on the roof into 4 deep cycle batteries, add a 30-gallon freshwater tank, porta potty, diesel heater off a single 5-gallon can that lasts a month, and a roof vent nobody hears. Your wife and kids ride up front like normal people. Everybody else thinks the back is full of pipe wrenches and used toilets. You can live in that thing for 60 days without ever opening the rear doors in daylight. Try that in your glass-walled expedition while every set of hungry eyes catalogs exactly what you have. Mechanically, these were built for fleets that can't spell downtime. Same 5.4 Triton or 5.7 Vortec that went in a million F-150s. Same rear axle, same transmission, same brakes. Parts? Every U-Haul yard, every municipal auction, every mom-and-pop mechanic from Bangor to San Diego has a stack of these things bleeding out in the back lot. Serpentine belt snaps outside Little Rock. 10 minutes and $40 at the nearest junkyard and you're rolling. No scan tool required, no dealer-only modules, just sockets, swear words, and the same tools you already own for changing your mower blade. Here's where reality bites you in the ass. These things drink gasoline like a frat boy on spring break. 10 to 12 MPG loaded, maybe 14 empty on the interstate with a prayer. That 33-gallon tank gives you 300 miles on a good day, and when the pumps quit forever, that clock starts ticking loud. And two-wheel drive only, rear wheels at that. Fine on pavement, fine in rain. Absolute suicide in mud or snow deeper than your ego. You hit a dirt road outside Flagstaff in February and you're chaining up or you're stuck until spring thaw. This is an urban and suburban ghost, not a mountain goat. You plan routes on pavement, you cache fuel ahead of time. You treat every gallon like gold because when that tank hits empty, you're walking with the same bad back that kept you from ever finishing the basement remodel. That's the trade. You get invisibility, space, and parts forever in exchange for thirst and traction. Most guys won't stomach looking like the village loser until they watch the cool trucks get torched at roadblocks, while the broke plumber ghosts away with his family still breathing. Here's the one that makes grown men cry when they finally understand it. A faded beige or smoke silver 1980-1995 Mercedes W123 or early W124 with the OM617 5-cylinder diesel. The car your accountant drove in 1987, the one you laughed at because it looked like a bored taxi from Frankfurt. That grandfather sedan is the only vehicle on this list that will still be running when your grandkids are cashing Social Security checks that never come, because it literally eats garbage and turns it into forward motion while everything else is rusting in a ditch. Start with the engine. The OM617 is 100% mechanical from throttle cable to injector pump. No ECU, no glow plug controller, no wiring harness that can fry. A high-altitude EMP could detonate directly over Cincinnati, and this thing would just keep clattering along at 55 mph like nothing happened. The injection pump is a precision chunk of German steel run by springs, weights, and vacuum lines. Spark plugs? Doesn't have any. Computers? Doesn't need any. You could pull the battery, hand crank the thing if you had to, and it would fire on the third compression stroke. I've seen a 83 300D in rural Missouri start at -20 with a bad glow system because the owner poured a cup of gasoline down the intake as starter fluid. Try that in your direct-injected TDI and watch the rods exit stage left. Fuel flexibility is where this car stops being a car and becomes a survival organism. Compression ratio north of 21.1 means air temperature in the cylinder hits almost 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. At that heat, anything remotely oily ignites. Regular pump diesel, obviously. 2-year-old diesel that smells like a swamp still works. Red-dyed home heating oil, same molecule minus the tax. Jet fuel, kerosene, lamp oil, all fine. But the nuclear option is filtered waste vegetable oil from any Chinese buffet or chicken joint within 50 miles. You pull up behind the Golden Dragon in Mobile, Alabama, or Springfield, Illinois on trash day. Siphon the grease trap or grab the cubes they set out for the rendering truck. Run it through a pair of pantyhose and a 5-micron filter. Pour it in. The engine doesn't care that it used to be General Tussauds chicken. It only cares that it burns. I've driven an 84 300D from Tulsa to Denver and back on nothing but restaurant grease I collected for free along I-44. Smells like French fries at 80 miles an hour, while every gas station on the map is a dry pump and a skeleton. Durability? These were built to be taxis in places that don't have roads. Right now, today, there are W123s in Ghana, Syria, and Morocco, still clicking past 2 million kilometers with the original engine and transmission. Bodies rust if you live where they salt highways, but the drivetrain was engineered like a tank turret. Head gasket goes at 400,000 miles. Pull the head in your driveway with basic hand tools. Send it to the machine shop that's somehow still open because they run on 1920s belt-driven equipment. Slap it back together, and you're good for another $500,000. I know a guy in Billings, Montana, who rolled his 82 240D 4 times down an embankment. Frame bent, roof crushed. But the OM616 4-cylinder was still idling when the tow truck arrived. The painful truth you have to stare down. This thing is slow enough to make a priest cuss. 0 to 60 takes 15 full seconds if the wind is calm and God is merciful. You are not outrunning raiders, you're outlasting them. Off-road? Forget it. This is a road car with road tires and road manners. You hit the first muddy Forest Service road outside Asheville and you're sliding sideways praying for pavement. Parts are getting scarce in the States. Nobody's making new vacuum pumps or injection pumps anymore. You buy spares now, glow plugs, filters, Monarch nozzles, rebuild kits. Stash them like gold, because when they're gone, you're machining your own or converting to a simpler pump. And good luck finding one that isn't already 20 grand because the secret's getting out. But when year 5 rolls around and gasoline is a fairy tale and every gas station is a burned out shell, you'll still be rolling into town on yesterday's egg roll oil, while the guys who bet on turbo diesels and aluminum wonders are pulling weeds for food. Slow, boring, parts hungry, but eternally alive. That's the Mercedes diesel. It wins by refusing to die long after everything flashier has committed suicide. Here's the part most men hate facing in the mirror. There is no magic chariot. No vehicle checks every box without making you bleed somewhere else. Survival isn't about perfect. It's about deciding which flaw you can live with the longest before it puts your family in the ground. The Cherokee will crawl anywhere, but it drinks like a sailor on leave. The van hides everything, but it's chained to pavement and gasoline. The Mercedes will sip fryer grease until the sun burns out, but it's slower than a DMV line, and parts are disappearing faster than Social Security solvency. Pick wrong and your weakness shows up on the exact day you can't afford it, when your kid's fever is spiking. Your mom's nitro tabs are running low, and the road between you and safety just turned into a gauntlet. So let's line them up cold. Live in the Rockies outside Colorado Springs with forest roads and winter snow. The XJ is your only prayer. The van spins out, the Mercedes never leaves the county. Live in a sprawl like Houston or Atlanta where the fight is staying invisible among millions. The white van ghosts through checkpoints while the Jeep draws every desperate eye and the Mercedes announces, "Old rich guy with meds." Live rural Midwest or deep South where fuel disappears first and forever? Mercedes on waste oil is the only one still moving in year 3 while the other 2 are lawn ornaments waiting for a miracle gallon that never comes. Your terrain, your threat, your timeline, those decide which poison you swallow. Ignore them and you're just another guy with a bad back pushing a dead truck while his daughter asks why daddy didn't pick the right one. Complexity is the silent killer wearing a friendly face. Every sensor, every module, every touchscreen that promised convenience is a future failure point waiting for the worst possible moment. Simplicity isn't sexy, it's survival. It's the difference between fixing a belt with a socket set in a rainstorm outside Omaha and watching your family walk because the dealer is 2 states away and the grid is a memory. Now I want to hear from you, right now, today. Drop your rig in the comments, but you better tell me exactly how it passes all 4 laws. EMP-Proof, common tool fixable, fuel flexible, and invisible enough that nobody kicks in your door at 3 a.m. Tell me the year, make, model, and your city and state. I'll read every single one, and if it holds up, I'll pin it. If it doesn't, I'll tell you why it gets you killed, and you'll thank me later. Your daily driver, the one you kissed goodbye this morning, the one with the payment book and the CarPlay and the subscription for the heated steering wheel. It's already dead. It died the second some lab in Pyongyang or a solar flare nobody can vote out of office decided today was the day. You just haven't been forced to admit it yet because the key still turns and the Starbucks line still moves. One morning it won't, and on that morning the excuses end. You don't get a practice run. You get one choice, one vehicle, one set of weaknesses, and whatever consequences come with it. Choose analog, choose simple, choose the thing that keeps rolling when the sky itself tries to murder everything with a chip inside. Because when that day comes, forward motion is life, and everything else is just a slower way to die. Comment your setup and location. Hit the like button if this just saved your family. Share it with the one person you refuse to leave behind. I'll see you in the comments. And I'll see the smart ones on the other side. Stay hard.